Hey everybody, Yankee here. Today I want to take a few minutes and I want to address a very serious topic. I want to address fraud, the obvious fraud that takes place with the TYMPPP, the Yankee Marshall Posse Pistol Project. And no, I'm not talking about fraud on our end. We're very open. We're very transparent in what we do on our end for that very purpose, so people know we're actually doing what we say we're doing. I let the viewers choose the recipients, and then Grab a Gun handles getting all the guns out to people. So if we weren't really doing it, it'd be really easy to find out by calling Grab a Gun. Just like people used to call Sporting System and say, are they really doing what they're saying? And Sporting System was like, yes, they're doing what they're saying, so fuck off. But like I said, we're very transparent in what we do, which is why it really surprises me when I sometimes hear from people saying, hey, I thought your TYMPPP was just a scam. Just a way for you to make money, that you weren't really doing what you said until my sister won one or my best friend won one, and I'm like, well, why were you believing that? Well, because this YouTuber said that and that YouTuber said that. And I'm like, yeah, and they're assholes who just want to make money and don't like the fact that we're doing something for people instead of just hoarding the money. So why would you believe them? They have a reason to want you to think that. We're very transparent. It's very easy to see what we're doing. Every time one of them challenges me, I'm like, hey, come on, challenge me. Let's prove it. I'll show my earnings on my channel and where the money goes. You show your earnings and where the money goes. None of them are interested in doing that. So, like I said, the fraud's not on our part. It's on the part of the people that sign up for TYMPPP. Now, unfortunately, that's going to happen. It's happened in the past. Usually we catch it, but sometimes someone who has created a false identity or a false story or something slips through the cracks. Now, as far as the false identity, we can usually catch that after the fact, because when I call someone and say, or I send them an email and I say, hey, you got to provide us your full name, your address, and your FFL information for where you want the gun sent so you can pick it up, do your background check, and they go, well, why has it got to go to an FFL? I thought you'd just send this to me. You can send guns straight from person to person through the mail. And I'm like, well, one, I'm not sending it person to person. I'm having another company provide the firearm. And two, I wouldn't do that even if it was legal, which it isn't. Can't send guns person to person over state lines. And even if it was legal, I wouldn't do it. I would still want the added protection of using an FFL. That would relieve us from liability. Because you have to go to an FFL, pass a background check, receive a gun in the proper way, prove you're someone. And I don't like this, but this is the way the law is. I wish everybody could just buy a gun, but I'm just explaining the way the law actually works. And since we're an above board thing here, we have to do things the way the law says, even if we agree with it or not. So that's the way it is. So I've had people who just never contact me again once they find out that they have to go through an FFL. That was clearly fraud. I've had people make up names and identities before. And when they get to the FFL, they have a story like, oh, well, it says this. It says Rose, but my name's really Joe, blah, blah, blah. It was just a mistake. That's my ex-wife's name, blah, blah, blah. Make up stories. And I've had FFLs call me saying, hey, this person's giving me weird vibes. They can't prove who they are. I can't transfer this to them. I'm returning it to the company that sent it to us. And usually I never hear another thing from the person who tried to pick it up. If they were someone who was legitimately having an issue, you think they would work it out with me, but usually you just never hear from them again. And I've had situations where one person wrote their story. They wrote it as like their name was like Rose Catherine or something like that. Rose Catherine Smith or something. I'm making up that name. And then when we sent the gun out and I asked for their information, they said, well, send it to R.K. Smith. And I'm like, well, no, I got to send it to the name, your full name. Oh, well, that's what's on my driver's license. I don't have an actual name. My parents thought it'd be funny, just give me initials. I'm like, well, then why is it Rose something on your entry? But well, I make up a name because no one likes R.K. And I'm a female and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, well, send me a copy of that driver's license that just has the R.K. Never heard from them again. So we usually catch these people, but occasionally we're not. Like if someone is totally who they say they are, they just make up their circumstances, well, they'll probably get away with that. We can't stop that. We can usually tell when a story's made up. when you read them, it's usually pretty obvious, so they end up just wasting their time. But occasionally one's going to sneak through. But here's the thing. I'm not going to stop doing it simply because some people take advantage of the system. Because that's what a lot of people say, we should just stop doing it because people take advantage. Well, no, I would rather get taken advantage of 50% of the time than I would not help the other 50% of the people that were legitimately in need. Because that's what TYMPPP does. It helps people that are legitimately in need. They don't own a firearm. They can't afford a firearm for one reason or another. They want to be able to protect themselves and their family. They're good law-abiding citizens who want to be members of the Second Amendment community and maybe even pass that down to their children or onto a friend later when they're doing well. So even if it was half of them where we were handing out was faulty, I'd rather that happen than I would not get guns to the other half who needed them. So the fraud doesn't really deter me as much as a lot of people think. And plus, it's just a small amount. Because most of them, like I said, we catch. Probably maybe 5% of the entries are fraudulent. You weed out half of those at the very beginning. You catch 2/3 of the rest of them when you ask for the information. And, it's just the way it is. So it's very small, because how many people are going to go out of their way, make up a story, lower and debase themselves to be a dishonest person for a Taurus G3C. Not many people are going to do that. The people that are scummy enough to do that when they don't need it and take it out of the hands of someone that does, they're few and far between. I have more faith in the human race than that. But we have had to start doing one thing that I didn't want to have to do, but we have to do. Now we have been having to ask for a photo ID if you're chosen. Which is nothing new. If you're buying a gun, you've got to show the shop a photo ID. If you're picking it up at the FFL, you got to show them a photo ID. They take records of them, take pictures of them. So they're on file already. So sending them to us is not anything else big. We don't share them with anyone. The only person that sees them is, me and Grab-A-Gun. Even the judges don't see that. And I think people can trust me not to be spreading them around, even though I have doxed people online accidentally before. But this is not something that would happen with. So that is one thing we're having to do now. We are having to ask for photo ID. And I think that's going to help weed out the ones that slip through the cracks and don't get caught until they're sent to the dealer or to the FFL. Because I'm getting tired of those. We've had guns sent back because, the person isn't who they say they are. And we have to take those back. That's been very rare, but it's happened and it's a big expense. So to prevent that from happening, we're going to be taking a copy of your driver's license when you're chosen now. The most recent group of people, one person stopped responding after I asked for the driver's license. The other three just, here it is, didn't even ask a question. So I'm hoping it won't be a problem with the new recipients either. But that's what we got to do now. I just wanted to let people know, yes, I'm aware there's probably some fraud, but it's like a tiny percentage. And I would rather ignore them and help the others than I would not help the others because of them. And that's just the way it's going to be. But like I said, from now on, unfortunately, we are going to have to get a copy of your photo ID if you're chosen. But that's nothing new. You're going to have to provide that anyway throughout the year. Just providing it a little earlier now. But then we'll still keep rolling with TYMPPP as long as funding allows. And if you want to fund TYMPPP, if you want to be a recipient of TYMPPP, go over to my website, TYMPPistolproject.com, and you can register over there. If you're not someone who needs to benefit from it, you can go over there also, and you can buy merchandise. Any merchandise from any store over there, except for, right now, the Fur Friends Christmas store, which is for Fur Friends Animal Fundraiser we're doing right now. If you want to donate to that, you can donate directly or get something from that store. But if you want to support TYMPPP, any other product is in the regular store, buy that. That money goes to support TYMPPP. If you think it's a good program and you'd like to see it continue. Right now, we're struggling. I'll be honest with you. We've had a lot of other things going on. It's been hard to keep up with TYMPPP. So if you want to support it, go over there and either buy merchandise or become a member on Subscribestar. You can also do that. I'll put a link in the upper corner of this video. But most people like to go buy merch because they like to have something to show for it, to show they did support TYMPPP. So I got lots of custom designs over there. I draw every design from scratch. I don't use clip art. I draw it myself. So if you want an original Yankee Marshall piece of art, or at least a print of one of them, go on over there and purchase some merchandise and support TYMPPP. And like I said, we're still going to keep doing it. We just have that one extra little requirement now So go on over and register for TYMP, or go on over and support it, and we'll keep doing it for as long as we possibly can.